Hello everyone, I am Aurora Sitio, VTuber that has just Digievolved. Or I just became an American. Pretty similar results, really. There's this little franchise that I absolutely love, called Digimon. One of the most confused properties I have ever witnessed in my life. From Tamagotchi-like pet simulators to full-on RPGs, arena fighters, and a visual novel with a strategy gameplay core. And the anime experiments almost as much as the games, with the various seasons being somewhat consistent, only for the later ones to experiment on a wider scale with new things. So, if Digimon is so experimental in its execution and products, then why do I love it so much? To see why I love Digimon, we need to establish what Digimon even are. Before we go on, we need to establish one thing. Digimon was never designed to compete with Pokémon, or to ride its Pokémania current. It was created as a Tamagotchi alternative. The V-Pet Digivice are devices studied to function like Tamagotchis, where you take care of your cute little critter from its birth to its death, making sure it survived as long as possible, with a twist. If these creatures survived long enough, and with the right amount of care, they would have been able to digi-evolve into stronger and more cool-looking creatures, with every new rank in said Digi-evolutions getting more difficult to achieve than the ones that came before, until you could reach the summit of said evolutionary line, the Mega Stage. And the designs of these Digimons were always its strong suit. And if at any point your partner died for any reason, unlike the classic Tamagotchis, where the game just ended and you couldn't even reset it, the Digimon would reincarnate from an egg, restarting your journey. So, these toys were designed for you to experiment, to try and achieve a whole different variety of possible Digi-evolutions, as you learn its quirks and how it functions to consistently get the Digimon forms you wanted. And their first official video game, Digimon World, adapted the concept of these V-Pets in its core gameplay design. You need to feed your Digimon, train their stats, and watch them battle as you give light instructions, but mainly they're the ones that are battling and doing the decisions. But before we continue, we have to address the elephant in the room. This fucking meme that both describes perfectly Digimon evolutions and at the same time it completely misses the mark. You see, Digimon is not like Pokémon, where every creature has its own evolutionary line and that's it. Every Digimon has branch evolutions, and a single creature could become one type of Digimon, but under the right conditions, it could evolve into a second option, a third, fourth, and so on and so forth. And said Digi-evolutions have each their own options that they share with other Digimons. But why is that? Simple, because Digimon, as the name implies, are more creatures that are digital in nature. That doesn't mean that they are only digital. They can bleed, they can eat, and they are interactable in the real world of the shows, anime, mangas, video games and whatnot. It's just that these entities are more easily translated into reality by digital means. So, because of their digital attribute, they can digi-evolve into different forms based on what kind of data they absorb. Reason why every Digimon can have a variety of Digi-evolutions. It both depends on how they are raised and how they develop. That's not to say that every single Digimon can only Digi-evolve into crazy Digi-evolutions. There are consistent Digi-evolutions lines that are more natural and a progression of a consistent line. It's just that they are not limited by only one option, and instead have several possible. So the meme is kinda correct, since some of these Digi-Evolutions lines can get out of hand, but it neglects to show that this is just a very improbable but very possible Digi-Evolution line, even though there are evolution lines that are coherent to the overall line. Although the abundance of guns is accurate. But the detail that is most important to keep in mind is that Digimon are not wild animals that you need to tame. They are full-on sentient beings on the same level of self-identity and consciousness as human beings. They have their own history, society, villages, and have social concepts of identity and can bond with human beings just like any other human would be able to, both as friends and romantically. It's also worth noting that Digimon do not reproduce, and instead they have a rebirth procedure where their core returns to egg, and then they are born anew. But that doesn't mean the population of Digimon is stagnant. As a matter of fact, overpopulation can be a problem in their home, the digital world, and it has been a plot point in one of its most important chapters to date. So, now that we covered the bare minimum on how the franchise started and what are the Digimons in the first place, I want to address the following question. What is the franchise about? You see, that's a good question because I don't fucking know. Normally, when you go and look at a franchise, you can usually get a solid idea what that is about. Resident Evil is a mix of survival horror and action, with some periods in their game design focusing more or less in one aspect compared to the other, while something like Super Mario Bros. Are more likely to be platformers in either 2D or 3D worlds. Digimon looked at those and decided to ball it. We have VPETs, trading card games, dungeon crawlers with an RPG system, trading card game video games, proper RPG video games, action role-playing games, arena fighters, a visual novel, and a racing game? What? I mean, yeah, sure, Mario has a lot of side games and spin-offs that diverge from the formula, but at least they have a formula. Digimon jumps to one genre to the other, and even when they focus on VPETs-like games or RPGs, they still pull out a new experimental game that takes everyone by surprise. And that's because Digimon is based on evolution, as the franchise itself evolves and tries new things every couple of times. Do you have any idea how many guts do you need to base the entire identity of your franchise out of experimenting with stuff? Final Fantasy may have had many spin-offs like Dissidia, but the core series always has been a turn-based RPG collection of games, until they slowly transitioned to real-time RPGs. And even that series had to slowly change the genre before committing to the jump. Digimon is on fucking trampolines! I will not claim this always worked out fine with them. They either resonate with you or they're a complete miss. Reason why, especially the first games of the Digimon World series, were really divisive in the community. You love dungeon crawlers? You may enjoy Digimon World 2. If you are instead more into a classic RPG, you're better off with Digimon World 3. If you have a VPET and you enjoy the experience put on a video game, there's the first Digimon World. And if you want to play an RPG in real time with weapons on Digimons and stuff, World 4 is the best game for you. especially if you have some buddies to play it with, since the focus is also on the multiplayer. This is one of the franchise's biggest strengths, but also weaknesses, because it lacked a fixed identity on what you could expect from the franchise. People approaching it didn't know what to think about it, and went with a safer options like, I don't know, Pokémon or Super Mario or stuff like that, leaving Digimon with its hardcore fanbase that were regularly malnourished by Bandai Namco. But it stayed, and it stayed strong. And even if it will never be one of the biggest franchises ever, Digimon does not have any sign of disappearing, and it will still move forward, because this franchise has something to offer above all. And that's the element I love the most about Digimon. The stories have always been with mature elements and full of heart. If you like the show, please like, comment and subscribe. A little bit of support goes a long way. When you look at Digimon, you may not consider it a franchise full of incredibly mature and heartful stories, but since its inception, it always has been. The anime featured the stories of various kids and their struggles with their Digimon companions, facing situations where they faced death at every corner, and sometimes even had to deal with the death of someone. I will not go into detail for spoilers, these anime are incredible, but Digimon has never been afraid to address more mature themes. This is also true for a lot of recent video games like Digimon Story Sleuth, where there's a story mission that legitimately gave me goosebumps, and Digimon Survive that kinda self-explanatory now that I think about it. And this access to more mature themes let us have to some of the best characters I had the pleasure to enjoy. This incredible franchise has gone through an incredibly bad start, since it was for the longest time a kind of niche topic, just another Pokémon wannabe and another franchise that tries to capitalize on "gonna get them all" and whatnot. But lately, thanks to Digimon Time Stranger, the franchise was put under a very bright spotlight, and it began to shine, for both good and bad reasons. You see, this game was used by bitter Pokémon fans to shit on Pokémon Legends ZA, and this ended up souring the opinion and first impression of many people approaching the game and the franchise as a whole. I will repeat what I said at the start of the video. Digimon is not a Pokémon killer or a Pokémon wannabe. It's just another franchise that, while it does share some elements with Game Freak's creation, it stands on its own. And this is also why I made this video, to share not only why I love Digimon, but also to remind you all to not start conflicts using random unrelated stuff to try and justify your hatred of something you are upset with. Have the self-control to not throw in the flames everything that ends up in your hands for your own vendettas. And try not to shit on what other people enjoy. I also disliked Pokémon Legends CA. Played from start to finish to form my own opinion, and yes, I did enjoy it. But I had the self-control to not go and ruin other people's days, because there are people that enjoyed these games. People that I respect, and even though I have my strong opinion about Legends CA, I will not force it into other people's that didn't ask for it. I don't want to ruin their time playing that game, and I don't want to ruin my time with them. And I hope you can consider this for future Digimon and Pokémon entries. Thank you for watching my video. If you're interested in approaching the Digimon franchise, consider playing Digimon Story Cybersurf. It's one of the easier games to enjoy and play with, in my opinion. If you are instead here because you also really love Digimon, then I have a question. What's your favorite Digimon? Mine's Omnimon Sword Defeat, because as a wise woman once said, I'm an edgy bitch. Hope you enjoyed the show, and see you next time.